I'm going to call the meeting of July 14th, 2026 Governing Council meeting to order, and it is 12:01. And we do have a quorum. All members are present except for Kendra. I did have a nice conversation with Kendra this morning. She's going to try to pop on sometime during this hour from work. She had her first of her last series of radiation today. So she's sounds very strong and positive, and yeah, we had a good conversation, and I got her caught up on things. And because she had to be off work this morning for the radiation treatment, she wasn't sure if she was going to be able to get on during lunch. So that's what's going on with Kendra, and she appreciates all of our patience with her, and with her continuing to be, part of the board. It's very important to her. So, okay, with that, I'm going to go ahead and ask for an approval or any amendments to the agenda. Okay, I have one, just for ease of getting through our action items. I would like to move item number 7A, which is the executive director's report, to number 6, so that he can give his report, which will be explaining the action items. So that sort of falls kind of a little more in sync. So I would like to make that amendment. So can I get a motion to approve the agenda with the amendment?
I so move, Malinda.
Thank you, Malinda. Can I get a second?
And Channing.
Thank you. Roll call. Malinda?
Aye.
Channing? Eddie? Carolyn? Aye. Motion passes. Thank you. We do not have any members of the public present, so we'll go ahead and move on to the approval of the minutes. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes of the June 9th, 2026 meeting? Or was there any amendments or changes? No changes or amendments? Okay, can I get a motion to approve?
I so move, Channing.
Thank you, Channing. Second?
I'll second, Malinda.
Thank you, Malinda. Roll call. Channing? Malinda?
Aye.
Eddie? Carolyn? Aye. Motion passes unanimously with all in favor. Great. We'll go ahead and move on to Ms. Woofle with the business manager's report.
Okay. Okay, so first page on the revenue report, all RFRs were submitted on time. We had the final RFRs due at the beginning of July. So all of those were submitted. All the deadlines were met. Right now, I'm just working on the lease assistance application and then a few just audit documents that are due in August. So that's everything on the revenue report. I did do a bunch of bars for the end of the year just to kind of clean up everything, put any additional revenue we've received into the budget. Next few pages is the expenditure report. So as of 6:30, it's showing once I closed out all the jobs, all the purchase orders, operational was positive 195,000. That might change a bit with the audit once we complete it, but we did have a decent amount of carryover, which was good. We did have a few extra bars that came in for some hold harmless money, so that also helped the budget. We were able to fully spend down Title I and also Idea B, so that also helped the budget. We spent a little bit of Title II, but we still ended the year with about 9,000. Title IV, we were able to fully spend it down too. Shelby Library Fund, we received another allocation, but we have about 4,000 available in that fund. Instructional materials, we carried over about 1,200 for that. The State Litter Control and Beautification Grant, we spent majority of that down. We had about 1,200 left there too. Special capital outlay, we have about $372,182 available. HB 33, we have $160,000, $160,800 that will be carried over into this year. SB 9 local, we had 32,000 that will carry over. And then SB 9 state cash match, we had 25,000 that will carry over. And then the next few pages is the bank account register activity report. So these are all the deposits and withdrawals that were made during the month. So we did see some fourth quarter lease assistance came in, some Title I RFRs, Idea B RFRs. And then SEG did come towards the end of the month, so cash was a little tight, but ended up being okay. Any questions on this page?
Not on that page. I'm sorry, I had an eye doctor appointment today, so my eyes got dilated and I can't quite focus in on papers or the screen. Okay, you said something a few pages back about the carryover being better than expected.
Yes.
What is the amount we're able to carry over?
It looks about 195,000. It might change a bit with the audit, but it should be close to
Okay.
that. Yeah.
So that's real good news, right? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's a lot more than what we expected. I think we projected like 20,000. So
Right.
I know there was some POs we didn't use. So it just depends on the invoices that come in now in July for last year. And then we also received some increases for operational for some hold harmless funds that PD sent out to. And then just moving any extra expenses like into Title I and Idea B that we were able to spend down. So
Okay, great.
next page is, you're welcome. Next page is the bank reconciliation. So ending balance per the bank as of June 30th was $447,593.97 minus the outstanding check. So the expected GL balance was $444,825.90. And then the next few pages is the balance sheet. So it's going to show you the bank account balance per fund at the top and then the carryover per fund at the bottom. And any funds that are negative, those are all reimbursement funds. So those should be coming in. And then next few pages are the bars. So the first bar is 30-I. So this is an increase bar for operational for $37,298.16. This is that hold harmless that PD sent. 31-D is a decrease for Title I for $16,108.64. And these bars have already been submitted to PED. So these are already in the budget. 32-I is the increase bar for Title II for $90.31. 33-I is the increase bar for Title IV for $2,047.10. 34-T is a transfer bar for the tourism grant. We're just moving budget around so you can fully spend that down. 35-T is a transfer bar for operational, again, just moving budget around. 37-M is a maintenance bar for operational and just moving budget around again, just to clean everything up. And that's everything I have. If anyone has any questions on anything.
I don't have any questions. I'm just pleased to see that it's a little better news than last month. So that's good. Yay.
Yep.
That's a good
Yeah.
way. to start the new fiscal year. So, any other questions or comments on the financial report for the bars?
But thank you, Ashley, because I know that was something that we were worried about going into this next school year. So thank you for taking care of all of this, our numbers, and just keeping us informed. So appreciate all your hard work.
You're welcome.
Very much so. Thank you.
Thank
Okay, if there's no other comments, we can do the bars in one motion. So can I get a motion to approve bar numbers 2526-30I, 2526-31D, 2526-32-I, 2526-0033-I, 2526-0034T, 2526-0035T, and 2526-0037M. Can I get a motion to approve the above bars?
I
So
move.
moved.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do Malinda and then Eddie, right? Eddie
I
for
will
this.
second, yes.
Thank you. Okay, roll call. Malinda,
Aye.
Eddie,
Aye.
Channing? Aye. Carolyn, aye. Motion passes unanimously. Great. We'll go ahead and move on to Director Jones's report.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. Thank you for joining the meeting, of course. Can you guys see my report okay on your end? Just to make sure I'm sharing it correctly.
Yes.
Okay, good deal. All right, so I'm going to go pretty quickly. We're in the NOVA conference. I just came very quickly to make sure that I participated in the meeting, of course. So we're going through the whole integration process, the switch over to a new student information system, and NOVA is a part of what we do to report to the public education department. So I'm going to go through mine quickly. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Facilities. I wanted to let the board know that we do have a middle gate quote, and as soon as that quote is fully finalized, I'll get it to you for approval. It'll go to the public education department for their approval so we can use capital outlay. The middle gate is that gate right in between what is now the entrance to our campus and one of the exits, which is on the west side. It is going to take the place of the gate that we removed to become our new entrance gate on the east side of our property. So that's going to be used, of course, just for pickup at the middle school pickup area so that we have it secure and that it's a safe environment for our students as well. Right now, we have it kind of zip tied together and poor Manny moves it on a daily basis, but I'll be bringing that to you. It's going to be under $20,000. That's the goal. And as soon as I have it, I will let you know. I wanted to let you know that we had some fencing panel vandalism right off of Central on the south side of our school. That's something that we're going to have to request. Well, we requested a purchase order for it. We had to get the repair done just to make sure that our campus wasn't vulnerable, but it's going to be kind of an emergency PO request because we came back on a Monday or on a Tuesday and we found out that happened. They cut it with wire cutters and they got into our campus. But it doesn't look like they vandalized anything and they must have left pretty quickly. So we're still having those issues, although it is a lot more secure. So I'm grateful for that. Also, I just wanted to let you know, and it'll be in the finance and purchasing section as well, but the New Mexico Department of Tourism did offer us a chance to reapply for a grant for the upcoming grant year. And so we are working on, I will be submitting a landscaping grant. And it's really just a continuation. And Donna had done some work on this, and Manny is really helping us spearhead this project as well. But this time I will oversee the entire grant to ensure that we are meeting our deadlines and our milestones. Obviously, it's going to be some work, but it's going to be good to improve the landscaping on the south side of our campus. And I think it'll make a really big difference aesthetically. So that's facilities. Moving into finance and purchasing, hopefully you all had a chance to review what was in your packet. So I'm just going to explain them very briefly. And if you would like for me to stop and if you'd like to ask any questions, I'm always happy to answer them. JMP is a contract that I'm asking for your approval of. It's about $30,000. This is the group that helps us with our student information system. And so that's how we manage student data, teacher data, grades, and so forth. We've switched to Synergy, and we're a part of the Synergy cohort. JMP provides us with training and support in submitting all of our data to the Public Education Department. So that's the first contract. Next is our IT contract, and we have talked that contract down to the $50,000 range. And Brandon is willing to work with us at that price, knowing that our budget, well, what we expected our budget to be $20,000 in carryover. You know, that actually is really refreshing to know that we have more money, but at the same time, it gives me a little bit of heartburn because of everything that we went through at the end of the school year and some of the opportunities that we actually missed, thinking that we had $20,000 in carryover. We cut staff and we did a lot of pretty painful things. I am happy that we have that money back, but just to let you know, all of these contracts, what I attempted to do is renegotiate contracts with vendors so that we were paying less money. Therefore, we would have more money in operational. So this is one of them. It's our IT contract. They manage all of our IT services from the server, you know, and network to device management. That's in the amount of $50,000. There's a charter school testing services contract in the amount of just under $20,000. They help us with all state testing as well as our local testing, short cycle. Tracy is our testing coordinator, does a great job and has worked with the school for many years. There was an inventory disposal list that Manny prepared, and ultimately it's a lot of furniture. We've already approved this, just to remind the board. We went through this process already last fall. The only difference is Manny has prepared a detailed list of what those items will be that he'd like to dispose of. And ultimately, as I explained to you, it's really these rolling chairs that we have. They're circular, they take up a lot of room. They're more elementary level. I'm not sure when they were purchased, but we're ready to dispose of those. And what we will do is we will offer them to other schools through New Mexico ACEs. They'll have the opportunity to come and pick them up, at which time we can decide if we'd like to dispose of them one by one in our dumpster or take them to the dump. So that's the inventory disposal piece. Again, that is the brunt of what we're trying to dispose of because they do take up a lot of room. Albuquerque fencing proposal was in there as well. Again, that goes back to that middle gate quote. We're also working on a call box, but the call box that they gave us was a little, just really wasn't what we need. So really that's only the middle gate proposal. That's one of the things that you'll see in your packet. And then we do have the grant agreement that's in your packet. It's from the Department of Tourism. It's basically a renewal in the same amount, roughly $13,000 that we will receive, but it does require that the board reviews, and it will require a signature from President Carlson and myself. So that's all the finance and purchasing. It's a lot of contracts. It's what we do basically every summer to prepare for the upcoming school year. There will be additional contracts, I suppose, that come up as we go, but we're working on things to make sure that we're squared away before the school year begins. Okay, charter management. I just wanted to let the board know that I did submit our mission-specific goal data. We barely made it, to be honest, and this is one of the reasons that I did request some time ago that we amend our charter application to reflect service learning instead of just these internships that we're really struggling to have students complete. We know that now the internship is a graduation requirement, a local graduation requirement for us. The board approved that change. So I'm hopeful that'll provide a little bit more motivation to students to work on these things and also accept unpaid internships, which is something that students haven't really been very fond of. I think that we could run into trouble in meeting this goal if we don't make that revision soon. However, we also know that it's now tied to graduation. So we're going to do everything we can and continue to do everything we can. Mr. Conforti and myself, we basically are the internship coordinators, or we are the internship coordinators. But we look for internships when we have those opportunities. We provide the opportunities to students, at least the information, and then we ask them to find their own. But I did submit the data. We did make it at 60%. So that's been submitted. And hopefully the Public Education Department will give us full credit for that. I believe it's worth 60 points. The annual resolution was also submitted, and all that is the document stating we'll meet on the second Tuesday of the month at 12 p.m. And that's something that we all agreed upon and had signed, I believe, last month or the month before. Curriculum instruction and assessment, we did get rough data back from the public education department regarding our state testing that occurred in the spring. It's embargoed, so this information cannot be shared publicly, so you can't release it and I can't release it, nor can our teachers. This is for leadership planning only. But what we saw last year is we saw a 2% increase in ELA. So our students did improve by 2%. We saw a 5% increase in mathematics, and we saw a 10% increase in science. So we saw some positive gains with all the changes and, of course, trials and tribulations of a transition year and all other things that happened last year with corrective action plans and so forth. Our staff did a good job. I want to remind the board that this is all at the middle school level. So it leads us to understand that the work that we're doing in order for us to kind of, unfortunately, play the PED game, because the VISTA system is all based on middle school, which our students really need that foundational skill set in middle school to be developed further. This year, the focus will be middle school. And so, we're happy that we saw some increases. I think that once we get the disaggregated data from PED, we'll get to see the growth of subgroups and, growth of students who are full academic year students. And that's what they want from us as well. So, for example, we saw a 2% increase in ELA, but they're wanting our ELA growth to improve pretty significantly. We won't know that until we get all of our full data back. But also, the 5% increase in math, we'll see the growth data. But overall, 5 percentage points is pretty big, considering that's been our weakness thus far. And then a 10% increase in science says a lot about the good work that Dr. Mueller's doing, along with Miss May, who was there, spearheaded by Dr. Mueller. So as soon as we get that additional data, I'll let you know kind of what the growth looks like, what our subgroups look like, and then I'll share with you a plan of action. I will tell you that we adopted the Amplify core curriculum. We've spent this year, and Ashley went ahead and issued the purchase orders. So we're working on scheduling training for our ELA and math teachers, but it's a brand new research-based curriculum that's on the public education department's multiple list. They encourage us to use their multiple list when we're adopting curriculum. And so this curriculum I did use previously for 6th grade at my last school, and we improved by over 100% in 6th grade in the area of ELA. So it's been vetted by our chairs of ELA and math, and they look very excited about it. There's an alignment with what they're doing currently. And my goal and my focus for next year is to really get in to the middle school classrooms, really work with them on the implementation of this curriculum to make sure it's done with fidelity, and then to monitor instructional practices, which, of course, this year I did school-wide, but next year I really want to hone in on what the foundational piece looks like at the middle school level to ensure that not only we get the scores we're looking for, but they're prepared to transition to high school and work with Megan and Tanya. And so, that's going to be a big focus of mine this year. Policy, I don't have anything else for you guys as far as changes to policy are concerned. And then there really isn't anything else to share with the exception of I will share with you when our little kickoff/open house will be. It'd be great if you guys can come. It'll be in August, the very beginning of August before school starts. We're hoping to give out student schedules, have them sign up for parking permits rather. And then, of course, just introduce the staff again and have students get to see one another before they return to school. So those are all of my updates for now, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Great, thank you. There's some good news in there too, so that's good to see.
Yeah.
Where are we at with enrollment? How are we doing there?
Yeah, we're just over 100 students still. So we have students who are kind of trickling in one by one. My thought is we'll probably hover around 110 students for the upcoming school year. And as far as the online program is concerned, we haven't had any students who have requested information or have filled out applications for the online program. I really wish we could have captured the 35 that we had for virtual learning. Well, at least the 28 that we could have held capacity-wise. That would have helped us a lot, but that school has since opted to go another route. And so I'm hopeful that, and I do want to continue to try to use social media to get the word out about enrollment in general. But right now it looks like in-person is going to be our bread and butter because we also have to think about the expenses of traveling out to do assessments in different parts of the state and project-based learning.
Okay. I see on our website, we have the flyer up, kind of what I would call as a newspaper person below the fold.
Mhm.
Maybe we can kind of bring that up a little. I don't know, just thinking of ideas to get the word out that, that we do have this new, tool in our wheelhouse, which is the online learning. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, now that we have more carryover, I feel more comfortable even implementing the program. My real goal and hope, after it was really exciting, we had it approved, was that we would be able to fill that program completely. And, obviously we're going to need to exceed the 121 mark so that we have additional funding through SEG. And that additional funding, I was hopeful, would help us to travel out to do and implement the model that we proposed. So now having the additional carryover will help us, but we have to think about how cost effective it'll be to travel out and send people, to spend thousands of dollars to have teachers to go and facilitate project-based learning and do testing a few times a year, for one or two students in different parts of the state. So I think you're right, Carolyn. We'll move that to a better place that's easier to see, and we'll try to use social media. Um, so we'll see how that goes. I'm just hopeful that we get a lot more in-person students, and I hope they continue to trickle in. But you're seeing things all over the place now. There's just lower enrollment across the state and across the country. The birth rates are down. I just saw something in, I forget which newspaper outlet had this out recently, just yesterday, but yeah, it's dropped pretty significantly from 2016 till now. I think it's a 30% decrease in total student enrollment across the state. So, we're going to continue to do the best we can. And I think I go back to what I believe in my experience doing this work is word of mouth really does mean everything. And I think we'll continue to put things together that are good for students. And with the new curriculum, as our math and English scores increase and science continues to increase, and we continue to implement our media arts program, I hope that catches the attention of additional students and families. So that's the best we can do, is just continue to do the good work we're doing as a board and a school, and hope it all comes together.
So when I was there to meet with the tax assessor people, we had gotten a check from the Netflix from the Give Back program, I believe it is. So that was like kind of unexpected money. Is there a possibility of using that money or some sort of money in the budget? And this is a question for Ashley as well. So we can maybe do a little bit of advertising, really brainstorm about what we can do. I think back to when we did do the advertising on Channel 13 on KRQE, we did get 90 people, enrolling in our website. We just didn't know they were there. So to me, that tells me that that was a pretty effective campaign. I don't know that we can pull something together like that in the next couple weeks, but maybe something a little more simple. If maybe we can really bring, if we can use that give back money, right? Because that just goes in the general fund. Is that correct? Right?
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
actually so it goes into a private grant fund.
Oh,
So it just depends on what the scope of work is for that grant. Like if you have any restrictions.
Usually in the past, we've had to give a detailed use of proceeds before we even got the grant. For some reason, and of course, that grant disappeared for a couple of years. I don't know why. Nobody gave us any explanation. And then when it came back, usually we get a heads up from the film office saying such and such wants to need to give us that grant, because they don't get their rebate unless they do. And they usually do that in December because they're trying to close their books by the end of the year. We didn't get that. And so it was really surprising. Now, the general parameter of that grant is that it needs to support our media education program.
Okay. I didn't realize, I didn't understand it was a grant per se. I thought it was sort of like free money.
Me too. Me too.
But that's a good explanation. Well, maybe knowing that, if we can still find a reasonable, I mean, I think Anthony, you might remember as well, I think we spent $35,000. Is that correct with KRQE? Right around there?
It was $3,000, 3,000 a month.
Okay, that's right. You were there for part of it. Okay.
Well,
That's a little much.
yeah, I mean, I don't think, you can't, and the problem with the KRQE program, I mean, while it might have been limited, effective in a limited way, advertising needs to be ongoing. And, that funding is certainly not going to cause that. I mean, I go back to what I've said in the past, especially with the centennial coming up. Well, let me just give you an example. Several years ago, we had a grant from the county to do a heroin awareness project. And that involved us doing videos that would then be shown in movie theaters. Particularly, they were bought for films that would be of interest to teenagers, and also for billboards. And those billboards were strategically placed at your schools. One of the billboards that we have, and we put up the graphic in that billboard, the grant paid for the space. One of the billboard is the one across the street from the school, right on Washington. It's actually a little bit back from Central, right kind of behind Federico's. That billboard, just to put our ad up on that billboard, was several $1,000s a month.
Yeah.
Okay. For a little bit of plywood and our own graphics and laminations, we could put a big sign in the front of the school. It's, you still cannot see the name of the school when you drive up Central. And so, I mean, I would say that's first priority, especially what's going to be happening in the next few months.
Yeah, and that's true. That can be done fairly quickly and inexpensively to begin with until we get a better thing up.
It doesn't have to be there forever. It can just be something that's behind our fence so people don't vandalize it. That's above the fence. It's like essentially a billboard. Okay, that's on our property. Nobody can tell us we can't do it. And it can advertise the school. Maybe even put something, about the Route 66 Centennial on it as well. So, I mean, that would be my recommendation for short-term advertising.
Okay, well, I just wanted to get the idea out there and see if we do need to use a little bit of funds, or we do find a targeted, space where we can do an advertising. Yeah, we'll pursue that. Well, we have some upcoming events that I'll talk about a little bit later under my report, where we're at with the Summerfest, Route 66 Centennial, and the State Fair stuff. So let's go ahead and get these 6, and unfortunately I can't lump them all together. So we're going to have to do all 6 of these one by one. And I always feel like I have to apologize to the board that they make us do the roll call vote, but that's part of being able to do online meetings. So let's get started. Okay, can I get a motion to approve action item number 1, which is the approval with JMP contract?
I so moved, Channing.
Great. Can I get a second?
Second, Eddie.
Thank you. Roll call. Channing? Eddie?
Aye.
Malinda?
Aye.
Carolyn, aye. Motion passes. Can I get an approval of INIXTA Technologies?
So moved.
Okay, I got Eddie first. Who was the second one?
Melinda.
Malinda, great. Malinda second. Roll call. Eddie?
Aye.
Malinda?
Aye.
Channing? Carolyn, motion passes. Channing, this could be a great rock and roll song. You could do something with this. Anyway, can I get an approval of the charter school Testing contract.
I so move.
Channing, great. Second,
Aye. Eddie.
great. Thank you, Eddie. Roll call. Channing, Eddie,
Aye.
Malinda,
Aye.
Carolyn, aye. Can I get an approval for the disposal of inventory?
I so move, Melinda.
Great. Second,
Hey, Channing.
great. Channing, roll call. Malinda,
Aye.
Channing, Eddie,
Aye.
Carolyn, motion passes. Okay, number 5, approval of the Albuquerque fencing proposal. Got a motion?
Move. Channing.
Great. Second,
I'll second, Melinda.
great. Roll call. Channing, Malinda,
Aye.
Eddie,
Aye.
Carolyn, I motion passes. Approval of the New Mexico Department of Tourism FY27 grant agreement. Can I get a motion?
I so move. Channing.
Channing, great. Second,
I'll second, Melinda.
great. Roll call. Channing, Malinda,
Aye.
Eddie,
Aye.
Carolyn, great. Thank you. Motion passes. Thank you for your patience on that. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to Anthony. You still with us?
Yep, I'm here. I'm still seeing the Mr. Jones report up there. I guess that's okay.
I don't know where he went. Let's see. Oh, there he went. That's gone.
So you mentioned the Netflix grant. I used that opportunity to reach out to Amanda Scarana, who I had met at the Rail Yards Assembly. She's the Netflix corporate representative in Albuquerque. She basically hangs out mostly in LA. But anyways, I got in touch with her, and I just wanted to thank her for the grant, and she obviously didn't know anything about it. And I also invited her to the school. Interestingly, the grant actually was from a Netflix production called America Primeval. And interestingly, it was a limited series Western. And when it came out, it was really good actually. But I used a behind the scenes clip to show our students because basically because what it showed was how filmmaking is changing. Instead of, they showed the behind the scenes on the sets here in New Mexico. Instead of using a lot of big cranes and dollies, and they use steady cams and drones. They even had a shot, you could see them getting a shot with an iPhone. Okay, and this was a major Netflix production, and so it really suggests how the whole film business is changing. And anyways, I did establish contact with her. Maybe I will see her. Hopefully, I can attend the film and media conference that the film office is staging on the 2nd and 3rd of September at the Rail Yard, interestingly. This is something that they've done in the past. They didn't do it the last few years. In the past, we've had a table there. So I requested information about get a table. Unfortunately, last year when they did do it again, the tables were like $2,500.
Oh,
I know, they just upped it to only they wanted the big sponsors like Netflix and all those people. They could care less about us. They did say in the announcement that they are looking for some volunteers that they will let in free. So I also requested if we might send some student volunteers. I attended the last year's conference. It was really good because they had some great breakout sessions. One of them was with the entire cast and crew of Dark Winds. I don't know if any of you know about Dark Winds. It's the 4th season is airing. What was really great about Dark Winds is it's written by a New Mexican, directed, produced. Everything about it is New Mexico, and it's a hit. And J.R. Martin is one of the backers of it, and so that brings me to my other subject. I had a meeting a couple weeks ago with Representative Herndon to talk about amending the film subsidy legislation. She said that was, timely because she had just been in a finance committee meeting, and they're very concerned about the downturn in film production in New Mexico. And I was just telling Mr. Jones today, so I had to print up some the original legislation, and based on 4 pages back in 2000 or so, they have created what is now $140 million a year entitlement. Okay, $140 million of tax money goes to big Hollywood. Okay, and what they did when Susanna Martinez, now the original legislation had provisions in there to support local filmmaking. It had provisions in there like the Give Back grant to support media education. And most of that was removed when Susanna Martinez came in. What was left was this $140 million tax rebate to big Hollywood. The idea is to try to bring back, as John Hendry says, to reset was originally intended, which would promote local New Mexico filmmaking. Now, as a CTE school, as I was saying to Mr. Jones earlier today, I mean, to me, it's really important to see our students, particularly our good filmmakers, leave our school and have a real career pathway of working in films, not just as a grip or as a set builder or craft. A lot of that is going away. So I talked to Representative Herndon. She said to take the next step and talk to a senator. And I reached out to Senator Cedillo Lopez. I've got a meeting tomorrow with both she and Representative Herndon to talk about this. Now, the interesting thing is when all this legislation came about, none of the current legislature was in office. So they're clueless. All they know is that they're spending $140 million a year giving tax credits back to Hollywood companies. Okay, that's all they know, and they're concerned about that. And so this is timely. They asked some questions, and again, I had to print out a lot of the legislation that was turned in the early 2000s. I have that, and it's not very complicated. Like I say, it's a couple of pages, and we can easily write a bill. But I wanted to reach out to the person who really propelled that, who was John Hendry. I don't know if anybody here knows who he is, have met him. Okay, he was the godfather, literally, of the whole film program in New Mexico. Richardson brought him in. Not only did he was the head of the unions, very powerful union leader. Not only did Richardson appoint him in charge of the filmmaking, but he was also appointed in charge of the tourism department. He was the czar that controlled all of that. So I had a long talk, and he lasted until the Me Too movement came in, and that kind of put him out, and for various reasons. But he's still involved. But I had a long talk with him this week in preparation of this meeting tomorrow. And he basically agreed that we need to reset the whole program to bring back, which was basically where the state of New Mexico would invest in New Mexico-made films, and the state would become equity partners. And again, I mentioned this at the last meeting. A lot of this is really getting a lot of people's attention because of the 2 breakout hits in the theaters this year, which was Obsession and Backrooms. They were both low budget horror films, really low budget. Obsession was a micro budget film. And together, those 2 films just in the last couple months have taken in over $500 million. Okay, imagine if New Mexico had been an equity partner in that. And Obsession was made for less than $1 million. You can't make a film for nothing, but you can make a film that makes money and pays people who works on that film for $1 million. So that's what we want to bring back. By the way, I talked to, and I'm going to be meeting with John Henry. He wants me to see his new lot, his new studio. It's down on South Broadway. He's building two 10,000 square foot digital stages, green screen stages. Okay, now here's the guy who was the president of the union that built stages out of, carpenters and wood and all that stuff. He's going to digital. And there's a reason for that. I mean, because it's going that way. And just an example of how times are changing and how wasteful it was, one of the films that New Mexico financed was one of the Indiana Jones films, shot here, partly here in New Mexico. They spent $10 million on a set, a little town in southern New Mexico, $10 million on wood and building this set. They blew it up, and it was about a minute's worth of film. Okay, you don't have to do that anymore. That's really wasteful. They spent that money here in New Mexico, but that money could have been better spent. And so he understands that the technology is changing. So, anyways, I will be meeting with him Thursday, and a bunch of us, basically the team that put the original legislation together in the early 2000s, will be meeting, and I think we have a good chance of getting this through the legislature. If when he does build those two digital stages, I'm sure, Mr. Jones, we can get some interns there. So anyways, that's good news to see that he's still engaged in all of this. And also, by the way, I did get a call from Brian Stiegel, the motion capture guy, performance capture. He was wondering what was going on, and I said we didn't really know at this point. Interestingly, John mentioned though to me that if we do rent out the bank, and for any commercial purposes, production purposes, it needs to be rented out through an LLC. Otherwise, they can't get rebates. And so that's just interesting to know. I suspect that Brian might want to take the commercial component of his mocap to John Henry's studio, but that would still leave the student version. He's still into that. And anyways, that's all I've got for now. And I will probably know more after these meetings tomorrow with Cedillo Lopez and Herndon, and on Thursday with Henry.
Well, we just got a notification that we did get our educational exemption for the front part of the building. So we would probably have to explore if we ever did anything like that, it going through the foundation possibly,
Glenna wanted to do that LLC.
or the foundation would have to set up, an LLC or something. But
Right.
that's down the road. But the good news is we got our educational exemption, which will save us $15,000.
Right.
And Courtney Mrs. Landgraf brought the notice into the school. So that's a good thing. But we'll have to figure out how to do that so that we don't lose that, exemption.
Right. Well, like I say, it doesn't, I think Ty had a question. Go ahead, Ty.
I just remember I'd been talking with Matthew Terry about the Nob Hill Studios LLC, and he said he would talk to Barbara about trying to get that to us in some way.
Okay, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, the LLC, at first I questioned Glenna's rationale for that, but there are a lot of reasons. One of the things that an LLC does, as you know, Carolyn, is that limits liability.
Yeah.
And so I mean, and generally, and getting back to these film incentives, the way the original legislation went, they can't give money to an individual. Okay, the state couldn't give this money to an individual. It has to go to an LLC.
Okay, cool. Whenever you guys have your next foundation meeting, then probably discuss that with the rest of them and get that going. Great. Well, thank you, Anthony. Those are all exciting things. I wish I could put a little camera in your pocket and tag along with you on these meetings. It would be
I'll
interesting.
tell you what, I'm glad to see you still going. For those of you who don't know John Henry, he was a work. Okay, he's from Scotland. He talks with this Scottish brogue, and he's your classic union boss. And like I say, he ran the motion picture part of the state for years, and he's still going. And he's really smart about these things. He's a little bit infamous in some ways, but like I say, he's been to our school many times. He actually was one of the first staffers for Deb Haaland when she was running for lieutenant governor, and so I think he's feeling that he might be back. You know,
Oh,
and
okay.
just as the Terminator says, he might be back. And so that's why I feel really confident after talking to him yesterday that this whole idea of resetting the film incentive legislation to make that $140 million work for us could happen. One of the things that he wants to do is to codify the use of that money for training. Apparently, like I say, a lot of that money was designated for media, training, media instruction, but it was never codified how that would be done. So it was never spent, and then it went away. And so I think we have a chance of earmarking some of that into CTE for us.
That'd be awesome.
Mhm.
All right, cool. Thank you, Anthony. Any questions, comments for Mr. Conforti? Okay, let's go ahead and move on to Tig. Hi, Tig.
I don't really have anything.
Well, why don't I give the report on the events, because you've been key in that. So we'll put that under your little thing so I can bring everybody up to date. Okay, so we had a Zoom meeting to organize for some upcoming events, right? The Summerfest, the Route 66 Centennial, and the State Fair. So here's where we're at with all of those. So for the Summerfest, which is this weekend, for whoever can, whatever volunteers, and I'll send out another email to all the people that were at our other meeting, to meet at the school at about 3:30. I will have the flyers and all the little toys things that Megan suggested that we attach to it. Some of them can be stapled right onto the flyers. Since we don't have a table for that event, we're just gonna kind of spread out and hand, flyers out, or maybe put flyers on other people's tables who are sort of, partners with us. So that's kind of how that one is going to have to run. And I was kind of thinking, since we had that meeting, that maybe we want to have a timed volunteer. So some people go out at 5 and the others go out at maybe 7, so we hit the whole span of the crowd. Ty came up with some great flyer designs. So we're going to have full page, half page, and then also double-sided quarter pages. So those are really a nice size. They go right in your pocket. And, we can use the full size for other things, but I think that would be a great size to be able to work with for these next events.
Carolyn,
So, yeah.
what time was that?
We're going to meet at 3:30 at the school. So then for the Route 66, I haven't been able to meet or talk, or if, Mr. Jones or Mr. Conforti can help with this. Find out for sure if Mr. Richardson is going to be playing. We're not able, we missed the deadline because it was way early to get a table. But they did say we are more than welcome to come and pass out flyers and do any of that at the Centennial. So we'll have the flyers ready to go. And then again, maybe for that day, since we're not going to have a stationary table, if, maybe a couple people go out when it starts and then a couple people go out, in the afternoon, so that we kind of have the whole day kind of covered. So then now we're coming to the state fair. I did reserve a spot in the school building at the state fair. So we will have an area to set up a school display in the school building. We set that up on the 21st and the 22nd of August. So school will be back in session. So the kids can have some input in, I'm thinking the kids can have some input into that. So we do have a space for that in the school building. I don't know the dimensions yet, but once I get all of that information, I'll make sure that we have it so that we know what and this is the one that'll stay up for the entire length of the fair, right? When you go into the school building. So we'll at least have a presence there. So I have until the end of the month to register us for the parade. I just wanted to do, one more double check with everybody. We have a trailer, but it's only 10 feet long and it's a single axle. So kids can't really ride on the one we have. So, I mean, we could use the trailer we have if we wanted to say, and I'm just making this up, a paper mache monitor, right? That's being pulled and the kids are either walking alongside the float or in the back. Or, if we think taking on a float is too much, do we just want to focus on doing the parking and some sort of setup in front of our school? So I guess I felt I just needed a little bit more information, a little more input on the parade, if that's really something that we think we can pull off.
When is the parade?
Oh, gosh, I just had that. Yeah, you think I would have that memorized by now?
I know it's early September, I believe. Maybe like the second weekend of September. I can try and pull that up.
Maybe September 4th? Does that sound right, Jenny?
It says this year it's September 10th through the 20th. So if it starts on the 10th, it might be that 12th.
Yeah, I think it's the 12th, yes.
September 12th, because it's always on a Saturday.
So that would be
in the
September
morning.
12th. Now we can't throw things from the truck or the trailer if we're going to hand out or candy or anything. It has to be done by the people walking along the side, of the float. And that's a long parade. That's the longest parade we have. Okay, it goes from Louisiana to Girard. So that's a long, hot day. So that's why I kind of feel, if we can find a longer trailer that kids can ride on safely, that'd be great. Then we can alternate kids walking and riding, so that we don't lose them to heat exhaustion on that day. Because it's usually hot, that's what I recall.
If we can get, or if anyone has like maybe two trucks and they can sit on the tailgate, sit in the back of the truck, and if there's two, we can go back to back. But I don't know if they charge per vehicle.
They do.
Or
Yeah.
they do. Okay. Is
It's
there?
only $25. We can pull this smaller trailer.
Yeah, I don't think too big.
Yeah.
I mean, if the kids do want to participate, maybe we can also encourage them if they want to roller skate, rollerblade, skateboard, ride a bike, they can decorate it.
Yes.
Also just trying to think of other ideas, but I can brainstorm too.
Okay, I'll go ahead and register us then just so that we're in, right? And we'll see what we can work up. If it's on September 12th and kids are back in school, that gives them almost a full month to work on whatever float idea they want to come up with.
Great. Just to kind of put it in their head as soon as we begin, because I don't think we've ever been in the State Fair Parade.
I don't recall, Anthony, Malinda, no?
That is a good idea. It will expose us to a lot of people, and it's better than just a stationary table like we've had. And And remember the kids who were there, when that last parade, the gay, the gay pride parade, and they were all saying we should have a float. We should have a float.
Okay, then I'll get us registered, and if we don't come up with a longer float, we'll take the trailer over there when school starts and park it somewhere,
We-
that
We do have our Minotaur, and a lot of the students love to do cosplay and dress up, and it doesn't have to. We just need a big signage to make sure that people know what who the float belongs to. Doesn't have
They
to
can
be-
make signs. We can highlight how diverse we are,
Right.
the culture of the school, highlight the 66th centennial. There's a lot of ideas that I think the kids can really make poster boards for. And
Maybe have some students with cameras shooting from
yeah,
yeah,
right
absolutely.
there, the media team there too, showing them what we do.
on a tripod shooting. And,
Well,
Okay, I'll go ahead and reserve, I'll register us for the parade so that we're in.
well, Carolyn, the kids, I don't know how many years we're in the Marigold Parade.
Right.
And that's a loose organization, and I think they've kind of fallen apart. It seems like everything went to Old Town now, but
I think they still.
they had it wasn't a banner, but they had the thing that they carried with the school's name on it. But that's out of date now because the school's name is not Max. Yeah.
I
So
forgot about the Marigold Parade, that's coming up. Okay, I'll go ahead and I'll register us for the parade then. So I think those are four really solid, events that we can at least be involved in, whether or not brings in any new students, and it might, and I think that, we should all be aware of any opportunity to leave flyers, places and whatnot. I'm getting all the flyers printed up tomorrow, and I was gonna print up enough so that Courtney and Director Jones have them there at the front desk, so that if anybody wanted to stop by and grab some. Tig did revamp them, and I asked him to make one two-sided, just the different sizes, and he did a really great job on that. So I want to thank him.
Maybe Mr. Jones, do you know what the 40th day is offhand? It would be
No.
October.
It is in October. It's definitely in October. It usually is in October. I will check because now with the Nova conference that I'm going to, they'll give us all those dates. So I'll be able to tell you.
Okay. Okay, I think that's all I have for the event. And yeah, anything you want to add, Tig? Did I miss anything?
I don't think so.
And Tig and for the rest of the board, Tig and his dad, Malinda, myself, and Mr. Conforti went to Mr. Landgraf's memorial, and that was very nice. He was quite known across quite a few different platforms here in the city, so that was really nice to see, and we were well received and well, thought of by the Landgraf family, so that was very nice. Okay, I guess now we're going to move on. Oh, I'll just keep talking. Okay, so now we're under the new business governing council. So July 1st is a real special day for us charter school people. It means the training calendar starts again. So just a reminder on that. The clock is ticking. Let's see, none. So I want to encourage everybody to go to ABQ, the magazine, to their Best of Albuquerque voting. And we should all vote for us as the best charter school. And we should all vote for Mr. Tafoya and Dr. Eddie Tafoya for the best comedian. I did my votes yesterday, and there's a number of others that we can put in there. You can do Suspended Slayer for the best rock band. There's so many categories. So if you just stop and you think about the people here, you can put me down as best reporter. That'd be okay. I wasn't going to put myself down because you have to put your name in there, but there's so many categories. So it was actually kind of fun to fill out. I mean, you're going to be really amazed at the number of categories. But we can do the charter school one because I think the other charter school that always wins stuffs the ballot. And they have best comedian. And of course, you know, we have one of our own. They even have an accounting firm. So there you go. We can plug in everybody. And then, let's see, I got that. I think that is it on my list. Anybody else from the council, the board? Anybody have any other comments? Did you hear me, Anthony, including in telling everybody to vote for ABQ and ABQ the magazine?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I had to, I had to check in on the World Cup.
Oh, okay.
I did not watch it now. It's almost done. And
I didn't know I thought it was tomorrow.
no, the game just started. I'm sorry. What did I miss?
I just was telling everybody to go to ABQ the magazine and vote in their best of Albuquerque, best charter school, best comedian, best hard rock band, best accounting firm. What am I missing
Is that
here?
online?
Yes, it's online.
Maybe what?
ABQ the magazine. Let's see if I can paste it.
That's all right. We'll find it.
Yeah, if you go to ABQ the magazine, best of Albuquerque.
Yeah, they usually have those magazines at the checkout too at the grocery stores.
Yeah. Okay, I'll send out a revised email well, I'm trying to paste this in the chat, but it's not letting me. Well, it's just ABQ the magazine, best of the city. I'll send out a reminder for the events and I'll register us for the parade. And I think that's all unless I've missed something.
Think you got it.
Did I get everything? Check, check, check.
Check, check, check.
And I'm sure I'll find some checks that I should have checked afterwards and I'll be like, oh no, but anyway, I will go ahead and adjourn this meeting at 1:08. I think that's our shortest meeting ever.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Everyone, see you all soon.